Good afternoon, everyone.
Say good afternoon. Thank you.
You guys are not in the mood, huh? I'm sorry. We'll have a couple of brief statements, and we'll be prepared for some questions. As you know, during the last several months, the City Council of Philadelphia has been reviewing a proposal that was sent to it by the Nutter administration. The proposal was a result of approximately 2 years of work by the administration, working with Lazard and a number of other entities to put together a proposal. That process had a series of options as it relates to what could be done with the Philadelphia Gas Works. I believe that one, the administration wanted to find out was the Philadelphia Gas Works worth anything. As we all know, years ago, it was pretty much on fumes, but due to the great management structure that was put in place, the commissioner, a lot of great workers, they turned it around quite aggressively to the point where there was actually a level of interest as it relates to the purchase of the gas company, or as it related to the ability to operate in some capacity with the gas company. So as a result of that, that analysis was put together, and there were several options in terms of what the administration could do with the gas company. It could be a status quo approach to basically do nothing, continue operating as it currently is or was. It could look at possibilities of hybrids, some combination of public-private partnership. It could look at joint venture opportunities. There could actually say that there was an opportunity to do a public offering. So all of the various things, and all that's in your document that you've been given today about the history. That final proposal was sent to the mayor, to City Council, where essentially the least flexible option was selected by the administration. That was essentially an up or down sale. Didn't give you an opportunity to look at a broader or more comprehensive approach to the gas company. That proposal was forwarded to City Council. We, at the time, understanding the complexity of the deal, hired what arguably is one of the best consultants in the country as it relates to these matters, and I want to say that they did a very good job. They started that process by requesting documents and information, and at one point, after a couple of months, they were actually in the process of actually received all of the documents. I must say it was quite an exhaustive review. There's actually listed in your documents a series of meetings that were held, both with the administration, with members of council, with our consultant, an analysis, a list of all of the meetings that our consultant had with various parties, and they gave us a report, one on the proposal as submitted by the administration, two, a proposal that looked at the Philadelphia Gas Works and came up with a strategy for its highest and best use. What could you do with the gas company if it remained in public ownership? And third, as a result of those documents, the City Council, through its process, met with and talked to members, and we came to the conclusion that we could not endorse the deal as proposed. We will be having very shortly, because we understand after a significant amount of public debate, news articles, even TV commercials, the facts as it relates to not just the PGW sale, but the facts as it relates to the broader industry, because PGW is actually a piece of the pie as it relates to creating a real energy hub in the city of Philadelphia and its region. Personally, I know one of the things that I've found out, that the assets that exist currently in this region are assets that, if working together, could actually put us at another level as it relates to energy opportunities. And we've had significant conversations with all of the stakeholders, and we actually got, I know personally, I got a lot of knowledge about the industry, and I think we're in a much better place. One of the proposals that was put on the table by the Lazard was status quo. We cannot do status quo. We do not want to miss this opportunity that stands before us as it relates to taking advantage of all of the various aspects of energy opportunities. We laid out in our recommendations to the administration a series of proposals that talks about things as changes in governance, because you got to change the governance structure. It talks about the ability to diversify its product to meet with stakeholders as it relates to taking advantage of all of those related opportunities, CNG, vehicles, all of the things that will create a much better company and a much better region as it relates to energy. So with that, if there are any questions or any other, my colleagues have any statements they would like to make, we're ready.
Mr. President, does this mean there will be no sale bill introduced?
We do not endorse the sale.
I understand you don't endorse the sale.
We do not endorse the sale, and we will be introducing a resolution this Thursday to talk about the broader picture. If people want to come and talk about the sale, they can talk about the sale. Or if people want to talk about the other opportunities, people want to talk about everything as it relates to energy, they will be given that opportunity at a public hearing.
But there will be no administration bill introduced?
Not this, no. This bill will not be introduced.
Is there any chance of a sale occurring before the end of this year?
Well, if you don't introduce the bill, you will not be in a position to sell PGW. Because the reality is that the approach that was taken was very narrow, and people need to understand about the process. They need to understand about the realities of this industry beyond commercials. I mean, this process started, and it was about pensions, and it was a way to cash out and get money for pensions. And then, unfortunately, our pensions have significantly improved. The workers of the city of Philadelphia made significant changes in their pension plan, as we all did, and our pension is much healthier as a result of it. As the process moved forward, the conversation talked about safety, to the point where there were literally people, I don't know if the attempt was to scare people, but to tell people that it could blow up at any time. There was actually one conversation that was had about the difference between an 80-year mainline replacement that, for whatever reason, was attributed to PGW, and a 40-year. And my conversation with that person, if you guarantee me that there will be no explosion within 40 years, then maybe you can have that conversation. But the simple reality is there could be an explosion tomorrow, right? But if you look at the document and you look at the history of PGW's request for support to allow us to accelerate its mainline replacement, you will see that they have been very aggressive. And in our document, we outline a strategy that will be even more aggressive that could potentially accelerate that timeline in half. People need to understand that the document that was presented by the administration did not include the subsequent conversations or the subsequent commercials and all of the things that people are bringing to the table. They talked about a mainline acceleration strategy. That's not in the document. It doesn't talk about how it's going to be done. It doesn't talk about how it's going to be paid for. There were a number of issues about potential activities by the company. And I do want to say that it was really a pleasure to deal with UIL. Very professional, very decent people to deal with. But they were stuck with the proposal that was put on the table in the RFP. So they were very limited in terms of what they can do. Yeah, the headline is that City Council does not endorse the sale of PGW as proposed.
Council President Clark?
Yes, sir.
How would this be perceived by the business community that was looking forward to some sort of hearings and sale?
Yeah, we will have hearings. We've actually had conversations with the business community throughout this process. As I said, there are a number of things that they are interested in. Those things actually are outlined in the proposal set forth by the City Council of Philadelphia on how to achieve the goals that having this particular asset be a part of that increase and enhancement of the energy hub. So in no way, actually in more detail than UIL has proposed. So I think that we have sent the signal. We have had those conversations. We heard them. There will be a meeting in December where a lot of companies will be coming in who are very interested in this issue, and we think that this outlines in a very appropriate way how the Philadelphia Gas Company could play a role as is currently constituted.
Did you promise UIL officials that you would be holding a hearing and have a call?
Well, it's interesting that I actually got a conversation with one of the lobbyists, paid, whatever, a person that was on the payroll of either UIL or the administration, and came up to me Thursday after Thursday's council session and said, are you still having an up and down vote as you promised? Now, a number of you see me every Thursday in council, in caucus, and throughout. And my position has always been that there will be a thorough review and there will be a public process at the end of that review, and council will determine the next steps. We've been real consistent about that. How or if that person interpreted the very specific language that there will be an up and down vote, I just don't know where that came from. And you know, one of the things that I'm kind of, you know, this is somewhat of an opinion. This notion that somehow council was delaying the process for whatever can't be any further from the truth, because the simple reality is, and sometimes you have to, you know, talk to people outside of the quote unquote the press, the traditional press, that the simple reality is that the initial response was absolutely not. Don't sell PGW. Councilman Jones, you recall that block captains meeting that we went to this summer? You know, we went to a block captains meeting in the convention center. It was like 300-400 people in the room, and you would think block captains are there for their festivities and activities. And to a person, everybody was talking about don't sell PGW. And the easiest thing to do while that fervor around the sale of a municipal asset was going on, we could have said we're not interested, right? But I said no, we committed to a process. We committed through our due diligence to do a thorough analysis, and we did that. And we told people all along that we would conclude that, we would give you documents based on that process, and we would give you our recommendation. And that is what we've done today.
Mr. President, one thing you haven't done, or will not be doing apparently, is holding a public hearing in this room on that specific proposed sale and allow UIL to come forward and make a presentation for all this.
We will make that opportunity available to them at the public hearing. UIL,
But you've already made your decision, so what's the point of that?
you said that we will not give them an opportunity to come and talk about the specific proposal.
Prior to council members'
Oh,
name.
you keep at it. Now you're doing addendums on your question, sir. We will give UIL, the administration, or anyone who's interested in this particular proposal an opportunity to come in this room to discuss that proposal in very specific detail. But it is a broader, the simple reality is that there's no appetite to sell BGW as proposed by that specific, very specific proposal. As I said earlier, this is a very limited RFP that the way it was structured, they imposed significant limitations on any respondent and subsequently on the members of council through their deliberation.
Will you be releasing an incentive report?
Should be out. It's in the hands of the administration, all members of council, and we will shortly be releasing that to the public.
Can you talk at all or add in color to the revisions that were done on that report over the last couple of months?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Can you provide us with some sort of insights on any sort of revisions that report that were done over the last?
Revisions?
Yeah, revisions by council staff.
Well, you know, that was revisions. There were no revisions. You mean as our report? I mean, there was documents that were given to our particular consultant during the course of several months. And there was a review of those documents and was put in a format so members of council can be briefed and discuss all those missions. There was back and forth based on responses from council members and staff. And I do want to say our staff did a very good job on this because the reality is they know a whole lot more about this than we do. So as a result of that, the final document was put together for review by the members of council, both the proposal and the highest and best use, and will be made available to the public.
I'm just anticipating a question from the administration or supporters of the sale that council cooked the incentive report in order to reach the conclusions that they want. You're saying it didn't happen.
I'm not hearing you. I'm sorry. Can you speak a little loud, please?
I'm saying, I'm asking, anticipating a question from either administration or from supporters of the sale of PGW that the council cooked the concentric report in order to make it support their position.
Okay. One of the things during the course of the conversation that we've had, and we had a lot of candid conversations, not only with UIL and other respondents, is about the possibility of doing it in a different way. As I said earlier, we talked about hybrids and we talked about joint venture opportunities. You know, recently there was an editorial about what happened in Jacksonville, and we did an analysis on a number of other municipalities, some smaller. Allentown did a lease approach. The way that RFP was structured, it did not afford City Council or UIL an opportunity to do any of those. And I think that, you know, that conversation should have been had early on in the process before it was submitted. You can't, no, the challenge is that the RFP was issued and there were a number of respondents and the administration chose the respondents to offer the most money. If you alter the process, say you were in a position to do a joint venture or you would prefer to do some sort of lease or some other opportunity, you would immediately receive papers from every other respondent because they would say, we weren't given an opportunity to respond to that particular change in the nature of the RFP. You understand? Yeah, I mean, you put it out a certain way and there can be limited provisions in the RFP process once it's out on the street, because I assume that a number of those respondents would say, I would offer more money if you had given me an opportunity to do a joint venture proposal, or I would have offered a better deal. And that opportunity did not present itself because of the way it was structured.
But my question was about the concentric report. Did that information included in the concentric?
Yeah, it'll be made available. Either we're not connected. All right. Okay, we can connect a little later. Yes, sir.
How would you respond to critics, and you've already seen some criticism, of council coming to a decision on this specific proposal before holding public hearings on this specific proposal and without casting a formal yea or nay vote?
There will be criticism whatever we do by different people, right? If we had the introduction of a bill the first day we got it, there would have been criticism, and deservedly so, because there was language in there that related to the PUC, and people would have said you didn't do your due diligence. There would be criticism regardless of what you do. There were some people saying you're privatizing a municipal opportunity. There will be criticism, some people saying you guys weren't in the process that allowed UIL to submit a financial proposal because we were not in that process, right? So there's going to be criticism from somewhere regardless of what we do. The fact of the matter is that there is not support in the City Council of Philadelphia, and I'm not talking about I'm not talking about a 9-8 vote. There's not support for this particular proposal as presented. You know, there's not 9-8. It's not 9-8. There's just not support. I'm assuming that
Every council member is being
you have an opportunity as a reporter, which I'm sure you'll do, is to talk to council members and ask them where they were on the sale.
But you just said you know it's not 9-8. What is it?
You should talk to the members of council.
Is it unanimous in your view?
No, you know, you should talk to members of council, as I know you will, about what their position is. There's not, and if
The public deserve to know what each specific elected council member would vote on.
they can ask them.
But not vote on the record. No vote on the record.
I mean, a person telling you that they do or don't support it, I can tell you I don't support the proposal as submitted. Anyone else? Thank you very much.